Charlie Boswell would lose his sight during World War II while rescuing one of his friends that was under fire during an attack on his tank. Charlie himself was a great athlete, and he decided that once he had lost his sight that he would try another sport. And so he decided to take up golf. And through determination and deep love for the game, he became the national blind golfer. He won this award 13 times in his life, and he was honored to receive the Ben Hogan Award in 1958. And upon meeting Ben Hogan, he said his dream, his desire was to play one round of golf with him. Mr. Hogan agreed that playing a round of golf together would be an honor for him as well. And as he had heard about all of Charlie's accomplishments that he had done in his life, he admired the skills that he had. And he said to Mr. Hogan, he said, "Would you like to play for money?" Mr. Hogan was rather surprised, and he said, No, I don't want to do that. That wouldn't be fair for me to do that to you. He said, "Come on, $1,000 a hole." He said, "Wow, that really isn't fair, but if you want to." He said, "Come on, Mr. Hogan, are you a chicken?" He was rather frustrated, and he said, "Well, sure, I'll play you a game." And he said, "You tell me what time and what date you want to do it." The man responded, "How about midnight tonight?" Bartimaeus was another person who didn't miss an opportunity. He didn't miss that chance. When he heard that Christ was walking by, he called out to him, "Son of David, have mercy on me, a sinner." But the crowds reacted in a different way. "Keep this man quiet. We don't want to be disturbed. Let him be." But he cried out all the louder. You see, Bartimaeus himself, he wasn't blind. He only was sightless. He sees better with his heart than many of those around him because he had faith and he cherished hope in his life. More than that, in this interior vision of faith, which also helps him to recover his external vision of things, Jesus says, "Your faith has made you well." Your faith, Bartimaeus, has made you well. This account bids us to ask ourselves, as Bartimaeus, a blind beggar, was sitting on the road in Jericho, how do we see? How do we see? Bartimaeus knew he was blind. Do we? Do we sometimes see it in ourselves? Do we sometimes realize that we don't see reality as Jesus sees reality? Sometimes we're bedazzled and blinded by all the glitz and glitter that the world has to offer us. Are we living in a spiritual darkness surrounded? Maybe asking people not to let our blindness be seen or known and trying to keep things quiet? Those around Bartimaeus, they tried to hush him up and keep him away from Jesus. It's significant because that's the situation in which we find ourselves today. All around us, there are many in our world that are trying to keep us from coming closer to Christ. There are so many obstacles. And if we don't see it, then we ourselves are truly spiritually blind. But Bartimaeus, he had courage. He took the risk of going against the crowd. He didn't let his hope be determined by the local populace and the voices of those who tried to keep him down and in his place and beside the road. Any faith response worthy of the name requires the same sort of risk. Bartimaeus, you see, is truly a hero because he went against the crowd and in his blindness took the risk. In faith, he approached Jesus and he said to him, "Let me see. Let me see." And you notice that Jesus himself, as he is going now to Jerusalem, this is the last miracle that he performs. He stopped what he was doing and he listened to Bartimaeus. If he can listen to this man, don't you think he's ready and willing to listen to us if we cry out to him? So why don't we ask ourselves, what in the world do we see? What do we deliberately not see? What do we fail to see due to maybe our apathy, our indifference, our selfishness, our pride, our arrogance? Do we see the hurting? Do we see the hungry? Do we see the miserably poor? Do we see the outcast? Do we see the little people? The media, it presents us as all kinds of people, beautiful people, those who are at the pinnacle of their political careers, those who have corporate power, the superstars, the sports heroes, the entertainers. But Mother Teresa, Pope Francis, they keep crying out, look at the little people, those that others don't see around us. Do we see them? Do we really look for them in our lives? Or do we ignore them because they might get in the way of what we want or what we want to do? And what about the little people, the no-names that never interest television or newspaper reporters unless and until they are hit by tragedy? Christ today leads us to pay attention to those who are marginalized, those whom the world has little regard for, whom the world bids us overlook, whom the world condemns to be of little value. This blindness, you know what? It needs to be cured. We all need to cry out to Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on us. Because in some point in our lives, we've all missed those people. We've all missed those opportunities. But tonight, Christ stops, and he wants to listen to us and to heal us of our blindness. Maybe even tonight, God is asking us at midnight to play the game with him and to see those around us who aren't rarely realized or seen. Bartimaeus, he wasn't blind in faith. He was only blind in sight. How about you and me? What might be blinding us this day from seeing Christ in others?